This Hour Has 22 Minutes is a satirical examination of daily events. Some viewers may not share this sense of humor.
This Hour Has 22 Minutes should not be viewed by anyone who cannot distinguish between real things and pretend things.
Good evening. Jean Chrétien was on the road again last week. The Prime Minister and his wife Eileen boarded a government jet last Wednesday and flew to Paris. Upon arriving in the City of Love, Chrétien wasted no time in getting to work. He went directly to the French Senate and delivered what many are calling the most impressive speech of his political career. The audience was riveted. Those at the head podium were speechless in the shadow of such unbridled Canadian passion.
What language is he speaking? Je ne sais pas, but he has some heavy accent.
And when Chrétien made his final point of the evening, the applause was tremendous.
Chrétien is only the second foreign dignitary given the honor of addressing the French Senate, the first, of course, being Jerry Lewis.
Ottawa has released a so-called white paper on the future of the armed forces. It proposes to move Canada's military into a new direction. Defense Minister David Collinette outlined the changes. The look of the military will change. Soon, standard uniforms will be replaced by this inexpensive, multicolored windbreaker from Kmart, which has been proven to frighten the enemy. Ottawa also plans to cut from the military one tank, one plane, and one ship. The government claims that while our armed forces may be one of the dinkiest in the world, we will still be able to defeat Iceland, whose military is pictured here.
They call her the sexy bandit. The 30-year-old New York woman dresses in a nurse's uniform and waves down expensive cars driven by elderly men. She then engages them in sexual conversations and fondles her victims as a distraction before stealing their wallets. Canadian authorities are anxious for the capture of the imaginative thief, as a full-time position has opened recently at Revenue Canada.
Due to the almost complete failure of UN peacekeeping initiatives worldwide, the United Nations has been experimenting with downscaling their famous blue-bonnet world peacekeeping troops and are now covertly deploying a smaller pink-bonnet domestic peacemaker unit. This Hour Has 22 Minutes in a special report brings you to the front lines of one such conflict, where we join Corporal Max Fevela, a member of the crack experimental team. Corporal Fevela, can you hear me?
Yes, Molly, I'm here in the living room of Rosary and Dick Linegar, co-belligerent in the ongoing Linegar skirmishes. I'm about to make an intervention. Okay, excuse me. Hello, I'm part of the UN Proactive Forces. I've been sent in here to negotiate an end to these hostilities. Stop! My intervention today just seems to escalate the conflict, Molly. I don't really understand the basis of the conflict here, and frankly, they're starting to get on my nerves.
But hasn't Boudreaux's galley furnished some sort of plan for you? Any kind of a tactical scheme? Can't you make a preemptive strike or something of that nature to put an end?
Well, she threatens to brain me. Well, unfortunately, sir, under the terms of my deployment and the Geneva Agreement, I am unable to intervene at that level.
What are you doing here? I'm
Corporal Fevela. I've made a tactical withdrawal into the no man's land, the kitchen. I'm pinned down here now, Molly, and Mr. Linegar is upping the ante.
Take her, Corporal Fevela. I'm sure the Security Council will be meeting sometime soon to have a discussion about getting you out of there.
Coming up later on 22 Minutes Magazine, the question that's on everybody's mind: what happens if something bad happens?
I was walking down the road and something bad happened.
What happens if they want to operate?
The doctor told me he wanted to operate on my brain.
Then how do you know that the doctor is a doctor at all?
In the job interview, they asked me if I was a surgeon. And I thought they said, do you like sturgeon? So of course I said yes. And next thing you know, I was in an operating room cutting somebody's head open.
They forgot to give me an anesthetic.
Who is policing the doctors?
I've lost a lot of patients. Nobody seems to mind or even notice. Thank God for red tape.
Does Canada need doctors?
Since the operation, Preston Manning makes a lot of sense.
That's later on 22 Minutes Magazine.
For some advice from his relatives, here's Joe Crow down by the water's edge.
Joe Crow here, eh? Eyeball to watery eyeball with the great mother-in-law, the lake. So I haven't called lately. Okay, I'm sorry. Sharing with her the good news. The Great Whale Hydro Project in Quebec is dead. Got no way of facial here before a dinner party. Bought like facial here. We worry the whole thing might grow back after the referendum next year. Our brothers and sisters in Quebec and across the country have their reservations about what Parizeau is saying. The reservations, get it? Listen, Parizeau, if that's your real name, when do you think we were born? Yesterday? Couldn't have been yesterday. I was at step class. If you're really serious about respecting the way of the Cree in northern Quebec and our brothers and sisters across this country, then like the thoughtful black bear who knows when it's time, you just squat in the woods and do it. You don't run around looking for the right tree and holding yourself. Listen, the people have spoken, leader of Quebec who looks like Ralph Cramden. You're going to listen to the mother who always said, wear a hat and don't waste energy. Because if you don't listen to your mother, she's going to cut you out of the will, eh? R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. Hey, 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 hey. Canadian scientists have developed artificial blood. The benefits of the new supply are numerous. It can be easily frozen, stored for long periods of time, and shipped around the world for emergencies. Many experts feel that the creation of artificial blood will lead to the development of artificial muscle and bone. This comes as good news to the Conservative Party, who are hoping for the eventual creation of an artificial Tory voter.
An Israeli man undergoing treatment for impotence was hospitalized recently after injecting himself with a serum that produced a 36-hour erection. The same serum was used by John Bobbitt during the making of his porn video, John Bobbitt Uncut. It produced a sad 36-second erection. When alerted to the less than stellar performance in the Bobbitt case, doctors who developed the treatment were quick to point out that the serum was never meant to be used to treat sexual dysfunction in the lower primates.
Jack Ramsey, a Reform Party member of Parliament, found himself in some hot water this week. It was revealed that while conducting job interviews, Mr. Ramsey inquired about the marital status of women. He felt a woman who was married with children would cause trouble in the office. Responding to criticisms that this was unacceptable, Mr. Ramsey apologized and said he did not really feel that a married woman would be less efficient in the office, but he just felt that he'd have a better chance of scoring with a single chick.
After years of substance abuse, musician David Crosby is recovering from a liver transplant he had recently at UCLA Medical Center. While his surgeon was optimistic that Crosby would do well with his new liver, others raised concerns about what to do with the old one. But late this afternoon, Mr. Crosby's highly toxic old liver was packed in this lead-lined storage trunk and shipped to Swan Hills, Alberta, the toxic waste capital of Canada. This, of course, is all part of Premier Ralph Klein's campaign to cut financial losses at the Swan Hill facility by importing toxins from absolutely anywhere. No word yet as to what kind of effect David Crosby's liver will have on the environment.
A reclusive band of Benedictine monks from a cloistered order started in the 12th century have become overnight rock sensations since the release of their album entitled Gregorian Chants. We speak to two of those monks now. Hello.
Hello.
Neither of you have had any contact with the outside world for most of your lives, and now you're world famous. How are you adapting to the new celebrity?
Well, it was hard at first. We were used to the peace and quiet.
Yes, and the next thing you know, you're being chased by Gregorian Teen Chant magazine.
There's a Gregorian Chant fan club, and we've got a new line of Gregorian Chant action figures.
Yes, and we're marketing a fragrance. It's called Essence of Monk.
Wow. Well, what's next for you?
Well, we had 600 years to do our first album, and they want the next one by next Monday.
And we're having some creative differences with the label.
How's that?
Well, we think our fans want to know a deeper side of us.
Well, you have a new single. Would you chant a few bars?
Sure, Sydney. 1, 2, and a 1, 2, 3. Full-scale nuclear war, we're against it, and apartheid is not good. The spotted owl gets jumpy when you're clear-cutting all that wood. Ozone layers depleting, as frog numbers they decrease. Chernobyl was a bad thing, so was the Exxon Valdez. Oh, bad.
Thank you. Maybe we'll hear from you again, hopefully in another 600 years. Good night.
Mr. Manning, this hour has 22 minutes. I'm Frank McMillan. Just one tough probing question. We understand that you are planning to cut back the 12 days of Christmas to 4. Is there any truth in that rumor?
That's right. We think that's far too much. We should cut it back to 4? At least 7.
To 7, I understood you were going to cut it back to 4. I think that's just a glorified...
A little drastic, but people are always exaggerating the cuts that we're going to make.
Did you model yourself after Jimmy Stewart at all? I understand there is kind of Jimmy Stewart, Mr. Dress-Up, in the voice. I mean that in the nicest kind of way. Are you a fan of Jimmy Stewart's at all?
Yes, I am, but I'm not consciously trying to imitate.
And Christmas is coming. Are you a singer at all?
No, not really.
No. Would you like to join me in Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells?
I think a solo would be appropriate on that.
You don't say that? Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Jeez. Only kidding, sir. Only kidding. But there's no towels in the men's room?
Canada needs gun control. You just ask any Canadian who has ever been shot dead with a gun, and I bet they will say, oh yeah, Canada needs gun control. Now, I'm not saying hunters are the problem, because they're not. Crazy people are the problem. People in cults who are preparing for some sort of man-made Armageddon are the problem. Guys that I went to school with who read glossy magazines with centerfolds of guns are the problem. And if one of those guys wants to go to a store and buy 10,000 rounds of ammunition and an assault rifle before work on a Monday morning, I want the cops to know about it. What's the big deal? We register cars, births, deaths, marriages. Before we get married, we register China patterns. And any old schmo can waltz into a China shop and find out that you have a turkey platter, 6 side plates, and a number of finger bowls. But do you ever see 10,000 people up on Parliament Hill protesting because their civil rights are being violated because it is common knowledge whether or not they actually own a gravy boat? No, you don't. See, if you own a gun or you don't own a gun, nobody really cares. But if you want to keep it a big secret, well, you can see why some people might have a few problems with that.
The music-buying public is in a quandary this week. What to buy in the wake of a few new monster releases? What's left of the Fab Four will release a new CD of 56 songs called Live at the BBC. Then grunge rock greats Pearl Jam are releasing their new disc, Vitology on vinyl. And H.H. the Pope, John Paul II, has weighed in with his new CD entitled The Rosary. Cal choice. Well, my money's on the Pope. The Beatles can rock, Pearl Jam can roll, but nobody can boogie like the man in the mitre.
Did Despite having a rock-solid 20-year lease agreement with the Chinese government, McDonald's has been evicted from their premier Beijing location. China has often trumpeted McDonald's success in Beijing as an example of their openness to Western business. But now they have been told that the government makes the rules and the government can't break them. They must be out by month's end. For his part, Ronald McDonald issued a warning to all Team Canada delegates, saying when it comes to the Chinese government, the Mick contracts aren't worth the Mick rice paper they're Mick written on.
Jeffrey Dahmer was killed in jail this week. His mother has been quoted as saying, "Oh, my son, how could this happen to him? Gee, I don't know. Maybe people were piffed about all those guys he ate."
Well, CFL football is over, hockey is still out, and baseball is completely dead. But Howie Marinka has found a new Canadian sport to cover. We join him now.
I'm here at Toronto Sky Dome. We're in the basement watching two-time Canadian champion Biliotropia Smithopoulos. He is doing his warm-up for the men's ribbon on a stick event. There are 6 spectators here. Most of his family have shown up, and he's off. Some thought Billy would not show up for competition due to the terrible fall he took off the parallel bars. That, of course, accounts for the hockey helmet not usually required in the men's ribbon on the stick event. He is doing the reverse lateral. He's about to go into the jump. No, he's down. No, that was intentional. He's making a circular motion with his body. Memories of Nadia Comaneci flooding back here. Like Kurt Browning, he does a lot of his own choreography himself. Now he's going up. No, he's going to attempt. No. He's straying from the program. He's gone to the bench for a breather. This is, of course, all improvised. He's back, and he's got some lovely height on the ribbon there. The time has run out. No, but he's still going. Nothing can stop him. Nothing can stop this Canadian thoroughbred. It's incredible what we're witnessing here. A true hero to all the little boy ribbon dancers all across this great nation. Man, oh man, oh man. Smithopoulos, he is unstoppable.
Blueberry jelly. Blueberry jelly. Mom says wash those blueberries thoroughly, son. Mom says blueberry jelly. Add water and cook slowly until tender. Blueberry jelly. Drain through a cheesecloth. Blueberry jelly. Boil rapidly for 5 minutes. Measure juice and add an equal amount of sugar. Blueberry jelly. Boil rapidly until mixture gel. Blueberry jelly. Mom says blueberry jelly. Mom says...
You guys, but I smell hockey. And it's just around the corner. Let's check in with Coach Peter Boom Boom McCormick and Coach Bob Nobby Spurl with this week's Hockey Notebook.
Okay, listen up. Welcome to Hockey Notebook. Get in here, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Okay, kids, a lot of kids heard a lot of talk around the rink about Alan the Eagle Eagleson.
The Eagle has been accused of actions unbecoming a solicitor.
It's hard to imagine, Coach, what he must have done if it's considered too low for the lawyers.
And now Eagleson, the Eagle, has been accused of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from the Labatt's Brewing Company and hiding it in Switzerland.
Yes, and as every little hockey boy and girl knows,
Labatt's is our friend, and Switzerland is a country you go to get a sex change operation.
Yes, and in the world of hockey, if you want a sex change operation, you're out of the game. You have been watching Hockey Notebook. Skill test. Chug-a-lug. Donnie
This week's edition of Hockey Notebook is brought to you by Tinned Beer, hockey's best friend.
There's a change in the air, and it's not only the weather. Here's Pinky O'Rourke.
Okay. Here's the weather for the next 3 to 4 days, depending on your cycle. Bright, sunny, shiny, tra-la-la-la-la, all along the west coast, accompanied by a little soreness and tenderness in the mountain region. Expect unmerciful bloating in the prairie provinces. You might want to loosen up the grain belt a notch or two. And in central Canada, severe moodiness and irritability, especially in Toronto. Oh, wait, that's the weather all year round in Toronto. Anticipate a large trough of irrational, out of touch with reality, crazy, flaky ideas hovering over the nation's capital, Ottawa, and spilling over into parts of Quebec. And finally, in the east, a ridge of foggy, heavy, fiercely gloomy depression. All the long, long, long way from Newfoundland down to the American border. Broken up only occasionally by a hazy despair and misery. But chin up and don't overdo it on the chocolate bars. There. That's the PMS weather. A used car lot owner in Northern Ontario has apologized for running an ad in which he is pictured shaking hands with O.J. Simpson. The slogan with the ad reads, "Free O.J. and you'll get away with murder at Kevy's." Because so many people found the ad tasteless, the owner has replaced it with an ad in which he is pictured shaking hands with former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. Below this, he has added the slogan, "You don't have to get elected to rob us blind at Kevy's."
Well, that's the way we saw the world this week. For all of us here at This Hour Has 22 Minutes, I'm Sidney Jabidintrick saying, if you've got your Christmas tree up already, it's time to change the medication. Good night.
The show, we like to have a celebrity on to give what we call a celebrity headlock. We know you've been given a lot of grief by Professor. Now is your chance, sir, to, as it were, vent your spleen, as it were. So, would you like to actually...
Very good. Yes, I can do the Western, what is also the ground.
Ow! Careful, sir. I understand you can bench press close to 120 pounds. This is Frank McMillan for This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Celebrity headlock. You're sort of hurting the neck, sir.